Welcome to the Galatea Expedition, the quest for the meaning of life. Follow the explorers around the world as they reveal the true meaning of life, guaranteed.
This gives us the opportunity to introduce the beginner's guide for the meaning of life.
Hello and welcome to the Galatea Expedition. To utilize the northwesterlies that favors the travel south, we start one day early to basically get as far south as physically possible before the strong westerlies come up, which makes it quite difficult to kind of sail to the west in Denmark. So that's why step one is to sail as quickly as possible from Vedbæk to Fakse Ladeplads before the wind goes from northwest to west. So that is the first step on the entire Galatea expedition.
Now check this. 4 meters per second wind, 5 knots boat speed. Saying nothing about current, but leave that out. The first time ever, all 5 sails up and running. Beginning tip, main, and here we go down south, passing by Copenhagen. Pretty ugly looking city actually, but it's quite nice from the inside. Fantastic sailing conditions. This is nice.
Fakse Ladeplads is actually a very interesting city. It is named after a famous Danish football player called John Fakse Jensen, and he is renowned for having hit a football perfectly once in his lifetime, and that guaranteed him a position in the Hall of Fame and a long contract with various top football teams. So he's a very, very efficient football player. You have to admire that. Fakse Ladeplads actually reminds a little bit about John Fakse Jensen. It also is a one-hit wonder, and the one-hit wonder is a restaurant called Provianten. And this Proviant thing here is, if this would have been a Michelin review, it would definitely be given 1 star, because that means that if you are, for some reason, in Fakse Ladeplads, Provianten is absolutely the place you should go. It's of course also relating to the fact that it is the only place you can go. But anyway, we tried it out and it was nice and nice people, and Provianten works, and it is absolutely, no question, the best place in town.
Extended bowsprit was used. It simply couldn't cope with the load. Apparently, 8 to 10 meters per second was too much. Not until Portugal did we manage to repair the pole. Fortunately, we were able to fly the Genica without the pole. So, annoying, but not disastrous.
Are we there? Castro Airport. Staying through the queue of incoming flights, pretty fantastic.
We visited Fakse Ladeplads here in the beginning of June, and to be completely honest, the weather was not so particularly super nice, but absolutely no question that in Fakse Ladeplads there is quite a nice beach. And if you want to live in a place with a sea view and access to beach and stuff like that in proximity of Copenhagen, yeah, maybe Fakse Ladeplads is actually a place to look a little bit deeper into. But we don't really have deeper insights into the quality of the beach, as the water temperature right now in Denmark is around 13 degrees, which kind of excludes, under normal circumstances at least, that you would go swimming in that stuff.
A broad reach across the Galatea Butte. The northwesterlies, with winds of 6 to 8 meters per second, provide ideal sailing conditions that prevailed all the way down to Stevsklint, the very first UNESCO World Heritage Site on the Galatea Expedition.
In Fakse Ladeplads, the crew, an exquisite expert on the good things of life, a British guy named Marcus, joined the expedition.
This is Marcus showcasing his unique ability to adapt to the circumstances. Here, the circumstances are average Northern Europe weather conditions.
This is the impressive skyline of Fakse Ladeplads.
It is time to revisit the meaning of life experiences from this first day of the Galatea Expedition. And actually, despite it being just a one-day sail, there was a number of interesting experiences worth registering and analyzing as part of the statistical foundation in the quest for the meaning of life. First of all, we have the whole idea of starting the expedition, definitely a highlight. We are now on the fly. This has been granted an 8 on the MOLYT scale. The sailing, the Galatea sailing, passing by Amager in the morning, was an absolute sailing highlight, and also kind of an explosive start to the whole expedition, flying along the island of Amager. We were actually bypassing 8 knots, which is quite a lot for a high displacement boat. So that was an absolute highlight. And it's a 9. It's not completely meaning of life material, but it was really, really nice. Part of that, of course, is the fact that in the process, basically the bowsprit, the new bowsprit designed for this Galatea, unfortunately kind of broke down, to be completely clear. It simply couldn't cope with the load, but as this was some sort of a homemade prototype, kind of used and thought out as a proof of concept for the Galatea on the boat, it was fairly annoying, but not a disaster. We have later managed to rebuild the thing and try it again in a slightly stronger version. Maybe it works, but anyway, it was not a highlight, of course. Then we come to Fakse Ladeplads, the magnificent city on the southern part of Zealand that nobody except John Fakse has ever heard about. It is actually a nice place. It has been granted a 6 on the scale. I mean, it's worthwhile. It's not exactly a highlight, but it is worthwhile. It is worth checking it out as a nice beach, nice corner, forgotten corner. So yeah, an element of a hidden gem here. And then the final point is a provianten thing. On a MOLT scale, even though it gets a 1 Michelin star for the city as such, because it's the only place you can go, it is not really something that you absolutely have to travel to experience, but it is fine. Nice people, as I said, so it gets a 5. So these are the first 5 MOLT experiences that goes into the database for further analysis in the quest for the overall meaning of life. This concludes this episode of the Galatea Expedition. If you're confused, you won't be after next week's episode of the Galatea Expedition. See you then, guys, and thanks for viewing.